Basketball Jones, I got a basketball Jones, I got a basketball Jones, ooh baby, ooh.
Welcome back to Slow Jam Mondays on CFMU 93.3. One of the greatest basketball songs ever made, I think. Amanda, do you agree?
Yeah, we're thinking of renaming the show
Basketball Jones?
Basketball Jones.
I think that's been done. I think the guys that were the Basketball Jones made their way down to NBA TV in Atlanta, but the real-life Basketball Jones from women's basketball in the OUA is joining us on the phone right now. It is Liz Boag, who is the 5'3" floor general from the Queens Gaels, a four-time OUA All-Star, an OUA Rookie of the All-OUA Rookie, winner of the Queens 2010-2011 Alfie Pierce Award for Outstanding Female Rookie. Last season, Boag helped the Gaels to their first CIS championship appearance since the 02-03 season. This year named the Queen's University Outstanding Female Athlete. But most importantly, I got to see her battle back in the day and really grind her teeth when she was playing in the Kingston basketball high school.
That's quite the intro.
Liz, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for that intro.
Yeah, no, well, there's a lot of things to get through. I had to cut out about 3/4 of your accomplishments in order to get them all fit in. So, happy to have you on the show. I wanted to get you on earlier in the season, especially after I watched the playoffs, because to me, you and Jenny Wright, and it might be my Kingston bias a little bit here, but you and Jenny Wright just absolutely went to work against some of the best teams in the OUA when you were fighting your way through the playoffs. But, I want to talk off the top here about kind of the idea of a Kingston basketball factory, because as I was putting together some questions for you this morning, I started to realize, I'm like, Jenny Wright was at Regi, I believe. Claire Kenny was Regi. Lacey Knox was Frontenac. They all ended up in the OUA. Lacey ended up at St. Lawrence College, broke the OCA career scoring record, and I think she has another year or half year, whatever it is, left there. But there's all sorts of talented lady ballers that came out of Kingston in a short period of time. I want to know, from your perspective, why do you think that is?
I think definitely in my era, like, we've had a lot of good players. We actually had some other players that went down to the States. And I think when I was growing up, we had our coach Andrea Blackwell, who played on the national team for about 17 years, and she coached me from about grade 6 in club all the way to grade 12, and we had the same kind of group of girls all go through that program, and it really set us up to kind of excel at the next level.
That's awesome. Yeah, she, I'm familiar with the name, but I never got to actually see Andrea Blackwell in action. I'm sure that she was around. Was she one of the coaches at Regi at the time? Through high school?
No, she's a teacher at LCVI. So she did coach high school there, and she also did coach the women's St. Lawrence team for a period of time.
Now I remember Coach Blackwell. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, she was a pretty good basketball mind. She was always around Frontenac when I was there covering games and watching them. So yeah, very entertaining. I want to know one thing now that you are in semi-retirement, we'll call it. If you could change one thing about OUA basketball, whether it's scheduling, whether it's when you play, whether it's the breakups in the season, something you could change in OUA basketball that, you know, if the OUA went to you and said, we're looking for some advice how to improve our product moving forward, what would it be?
Yeah, that's definitely a tough question. I know...
You're retired. What are they going to do? Kick you out of the league?
I mean, it was different this year going from the format last year with the East and the West to just your 4 divisions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I almost liked last year better, I think, playing, you play like half of the teams in the league twice, just because you become more familiar and it becomes more of almost a rivalry. And then, so us, we played Laurier in November or October, and then we played them again in the playoffs, and we hadn't seen them since. So, meanwhile, last year we played Carleton in the playoffs, and we had played them. That was our 3rd time playing them in about 2 months, and it just, it was that much more competitive. Not that obviously.
I find it so much more equal too, because like, I mean, if you end up having one side that's a bit easier, we would say, than the other side, it's like kind of tough to even it out. I mean, you could have teams ending up in the finals, and maybe they don't necessarily deserve to be there. Yeah,
I found the divisions interesting because it created, I found almost a more interesting playoff race, because down towards the end of the season, it was kind of like the NFL, where teams are trying to win their division in order to get in and get themselves a perfect spot. But your Queens team, when you beat Laurier in the playoffs in overtime, which was a double overtime, I believe?
Yes, double.
Yeah, I was watching that game as I was broadcasting a McMaster versus Lakehead women's game that was finishing up.
Wasn't such a good game.
No, which was insane. Like, could you have ever predicted that Julissa Williams would just sit back and let Katie Ulukovic from Lakehead knock down like 7 threes in the first half? Like,
yeah, I mean, I actually rewatched that game because I was so curious of what happened, and it was insane. It was just,
yeah,
such a good game for Lakehead and not such a good game for Mac.
Yeah, Mac just couldn't score, and Lakehead just absolutely went off from beyond the arc. So it was an entertaining game to watch. But as someone who was in the gym, there was a lot of people from Mac that were there and that were excited because the last month of the season I'm familiar with because you've been on some very successful teams at different places as well. It's kind of when you get down towards the end of the regular season, you're looking at the playoffs. You're like, hey, let's get it going. We just want to get in the playoffs. We want to play. We want it to matter. And you finally get there, and then it's just a bombshell was dropped on the gym.
And Mac had a really good season, so that's too bad.
Yeah, it was well put together. Wanted to ask you as well, NBA playoffs. Who are you cheering for?
I'm a Golden State kind
of
person, just because
I knew it.
I've been a Steph Curry fan for a long time, and now that he's just kind of flourished even more, which he probably is getting the MVP today, which I've heard.
Yeah, I think that's confirmed.
So I'm definitely a Golden State. Have them in Cleveland in the finals, so we'll see now that Kevin Love's out if that's going to happen. But
yeah, I think that's a safe pick.
Back to the OUA a little bit. I mean, at the end of the season, you see a lot of fans in the stands, but for women's basketball, I know it's always tough because you guys play before the guys, and even with volleyball, when I played, we played before the guys, and you end up seeing more people from the community rolling in at the end. What do you think the OUA can do, or in your experience has done, to kind of make you guys have a little bit more presence?
I mean, definitely from my years at Queens, I started with kind of no fans to when we hosted the OUA East Finals, you couldn't get in. It was sold out. There was over 1,000 people there. So I think, for our team, it definitely helped having Jenny and I as local players to attract the crowd. But I think, definitely even community engagement, getting other teams in, younger basketball teams just wanting to support. And then at the university level, the university itself can be doing a better job promoting game attendance and things like that. And Queens has definitely done a better job of that over my 5 years.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of my favorite things when you look up into the crowd and there's some girls you've taught at camp or something like their whole team is there. I think that's really fun. And it really does bring the community together.
The Arc is beautiful that you guys play at now, but in terms of the number of people that you're able to fit into the building, how much do you miss Bartlett?
Yeah, I never played at Bartlett except in CAC finals in high school, but Bartlett has kind of a different feel. It's more of a older tradition kind of sense.
Right.
And we still do practice in Bartlett now that it's been reopened. So maybe in the future they'll be able to host kind of a throwback game with retro jerseys and things in Bartlett.
I love
that.
Love that idea. That sounds amazing.
I know. I've been trying to work on it, but
I want to help get that going.
The All-Star game is going on this Saturday, which we wanted to have you on to promo a bit, and you're playing in it, but why not just, it's too soon, but that's a great idea. I wish that somebody would have put that together and made it part of the weekend, the event, almost
and then
like an All-Star
they bring back
weekend.
all alumni and stuff.
Let's get John Cudney back in the building, a little Neil Dawson. Let's put them all back in there, put them in the throwback jerseys. Just dropping Queens knowledge from my ball boy days down there. The quality of OUA women's basketball, this will be my last one, quality of OUA women's basketball. In your 5 years of playing here, do you think that this is the highest quality the league has ever been? When you look at Windsor being a dominant force, but you guys challenging, Laurier being a solid team that you had to upset to get through. You see Julissa Williams and that team we just talked about, Lakehead. Mac had a good year. Across the league, do you think it was one of the better years that you've participated in, or do you think that there was another year that sticks out in your mind?
It's hard for me to say when I was younger, say as a rookie, I was kind of brought into the league and I really had no idea kind of what was going on or the level of play around me. So it's hard to compare from that sake, but since I've definitely been second year above, I think this year, there was just so many good teams. And for us, we didn't lose anyone from the year before, and I think we increased our level of play tremendously since last year when we were successful. But so many other teams were doing the same. And Ryerson in our division.
Yeah, Ryerson, I forgot about them.
significantly from the year before, and Windsor remained like dominant even though they lost their two best players in Laurie. Like there were just so many good teams, and I think that's a really good thing for the league. And there were so many dominant players as well, so it was definitely a very high level of play this year.
Yeah, it was certainly a lot of fun to watch. I'll get you here on that, I guess, but give us your thoughts on maybe playing on your home court the last time in the Gaels jersey until we have the throwback game, because the game is in Kingston. It is Saturday, May 9th, 7:30 p.m. at the Arc. It is free admission if you can get down there. What is it going to mean to you to play an all-star game at home in Kingston?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to kind of wrap things up. I saw it playing against Laurentian in the first round of the playoffs. Would have been my last home game, so it's definitely nice to get another chance to play on my home court. And having played in these games before, they're just a lot of fun. It's low key, not as like low key as the NBA All-Star game, but we like to have fun, and it's a really good opportunity just to play with some of the other players that you are always playing against.
Yeah, I look forward to watching it. I'll be at the East-West Bowl covering some of that stuff, but I will definitely check in, and I might even be back because time for the kickoff at the East-West Bowl got bumped up to 2, so maybe we'll sneak back to Kingston and try and get there. Thank you very much for joining us, Liz. I appreciate the time, and good luck, okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. Liz Boag of the Queen's Université Gaels. Another person who will actually be playing in that All-Star game is going to be Jalissa Williams, who is from the Lakehead Thunderwolves.
Which is not surprising.
Yeah, she actually was coming off of a pretty bad concussion in the playoffs, though, which is why I found an audio clip of her this week talking about kind of her injury, and she's coming back from it and what she's looking to do moving forward. So here's a quick clip of Jalissa talking this week.
But how have you been feeling since then? You know, you've been getting back in the gym, getting back in shape. How's it been going since then?
Well, this is my second week back officially working out and, going 100%. I've been feeling great. I wake up every day motivated. Once you take a month and a half off with someone telling you can't do completely anything, it's tough. So that gave me the motivation now that I can go out and train to, go out. So it feels great. Honestly, I'm happy right now. Initially, of course, it's going to be frustrating, especially a season-ending injury like that, Like at first, I was very frustrated. After these past month and a half, I've had plenty of time to sit back and like, you know what, this might have happened for a reason. I'm a big believer of that everything happens for a reason. Like I wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case, because like taking 2.5 years off and, being in the military.
Yep.
Hey, God has a plan somehow. So I'm going to go with that one right now.
Yeah, I think if you're Jalissa Williams and you've been in the military, you've been to Alaska, you've played at Olds College in Alberta, you might believe in a plan.
She's like literally a fighter. Like she is just, wow.
I love, and here's the other side of it. I have one more clip for you here. She comes from just outside Atlanta. She also played at Georgia State in the NCAA. And she says that the Lakehead area feels like small town Georgia, which I think is a very cool comparison.
Wow.
Because that's kind of the last thing you would expect, but as someone who just drove through rural North Carolina, I kind of get that vibe that she's talking about where it's like there's not a whole lot going on, and if there's a really good team...
There's like community focus.
Yeah, it's very intense inside a small region, and they don't really require the outside perspective or the credit for what they're doing in order to feel like they're validated. So
I'd be down if the OUA would pay to have us compare cities. Yeah. And we could just travel around.
Just sister cities?
Yeah. Wow, that's a really cool comment.
Yeah, so here's the second clip of Jalissa.
How this has been a unique experience for you here in Thunder Bay. How could you expand on that a little bit?
Oh, definitely. I come from a high school community that was very close, and the community supported us and, basically did a lot for us. So coming here and having that same exact feeling that I had in the hometown that I grew up in it's pretty amazing. The environment of our games, they talk about it around the league. Literally, we went to Halifax and all the teams got together. We were eating and they were like, man, I don't see how you guys have such a great fan support system. There's nothing to do in Thunder Bay. And we're like, really? And they just like, we hate playing at you guys' gym. Like, it's just so loud. So we never have that many people. And like, it's amazing. That made me feel really good. Like, yeah, come to our house and you know what's going to happen. Yeah. Like our fans will eat you apart. I love it. And this community, just the support period is amazing. If I walk out every day, might go to a store somewhere, at least one person, they come up to me, congratulations. I'm sorry about your injury. And like, sometimes, people, I don't really like a lot of attention, but like, what can you say? It's like, thank you, cause there's so much support around here. And like, it's just unbelievable. I feel like I'm part of the family. Like I was born here.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I thought that was a good clip to grab from her because somebody who's coming from such a varied background and coming from all these different places to have that feeling about kind of a smaller region that you've become a part of, and I'm sure she'll be back for several homecomings and all of that stuff, that she is a part of the Lakehead Thunderwolves sporting community for a long, long time moving forward. Now, she will be playing in the All-Star game as well, again, Saturday at Queen's University at Noah's Ark. That is inside Queens, the brand new gym. It's very, very pretty. If you've never been there, you should make the trip down. This is OUA Today on CFMU 93.3. When I come back, we're going to be talking with Kristen Lipscomb about the NBL Canada debacle that's going on right now. Some wild stuff happening in Canadian basketball. We'll be right back to discuss that with her.